All right, welcome back to the Golden Hour podcast, the official content show of the Horizon League. Proud to be joined by our broadcast talent tonight on ESPNU. We are recording from Fort Wayne and the Allen County Veterans War Memorial Coliseum, where the Mastodons will take on Cleveland State this evening. And we'll probably have this go live a few days afterward, but we're here with Jordan Bernfield and David Padgett, who are on the call on ESPNU tonight. Fellas, how are we feeling about tonight's game real quick before we get into more general Horizon League hoops?
I'm just excited that we're back. You know, it should be a lot of fun tonight. Obviously, you've got top two teams in the standings, and Cleveland State's been going into tonight's game, the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the country with 12 straight wins. So it should be a really exciting game. First trip into this building for me, so on my bingo card of Horizon League venues, I think I'm down to one left.
All right.
And so, yeah, should be a lot of fun.
David?
Well, I'm feeling great because I had a cup of coffee on the way over here to get ready for this 9 o'clock tip. So the biggest challenge for us tonight will be staying awake that late.
Yeah.
No, we're excited about that to get the Horizon League going again.
Well, we are excited to have you two back because we know that you care, number one, about Horizon League hoops and have dived into it over the last several years. So grateful for the coverage. What, as you have prepared for this game and maybe for the next month as we get more into our linear schedule on ESPN family of networks and ESPN Plus, of course, throughout the year, but maybe some trends or things that you've identified that have been surprises around the league, or maybe, hey, this is just what we expect out of Horizon League hoops?
I mean, to me, when you look at the way that the league has gone so far, there aren't a ton of surprises just because I think we knew with the amount of guys that were back with Purdue Fort Wayne that they were likely to be somewhere near the top. John Kaufman's done a great job with retention of his players in that program. You know, I think that Cleveland State, you know, it's funny just looking at them being a preseason number 7 team. I remember seeing that in October going, wait a second. Just because I think Daniel Robinson has done brilliant work, you know, in the 3 years that he's been at the helm after Dennis left. I mean, the program hasn't missed a beat. He immediately sort of established a culture for what they're going to be, and they've continued to be that. You know, I think obviously after the exciting run that Oakland had last year, you know, Trey Townsend not being in the program anymore was going to change what they were. But I still feel like that's a team that, you know, may have a chance to make a run, and certainly Milwaukee, after their run in the tournament last year, you figured they were going to be near the top. So I think in all the years of doing this, we've seen crazier starts. I feel like right now where we are in terms of the standings hasn't been that crazy to me, but we still have a month and a half to go. So I'm not counting my chickens here.
Yeah, and I think if we've learned anything in the Horizon League, it's anything can happen over the final 5-6 weeks. You know, Oakland is a team that could figure it out. You know, never bet against Greg Campy. I think the biggest surprise is also the least surprising thing. The biggest surprise, like Jordan said, was Cleveland State being picked to finish 7th in the league. And then now here they are sitting 10-1, 2 games on top of the standings with a 12-game winning streak. But the Horizon League is a lot of fun to cover. I think there's even IUI has been, you know, they've had some very close games that haven't gone their way, but they've been extremely competitive. Fort Wayne starts the season going to Detroit and loses. So if we've learned anything in the Horizon League, it's expect the unexpected, and I think that'll be the case over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always a bit of a gauntlet here as we get into it. Jordan, you mentioned maybe being to 10 of the 11 institutions. Do you have a favorite venue that you like to broadcast from?
Well, I'm going to get in trouble if I have to pick one, because then if I don't,
no, you won't.
No, you know, the only school that I've not been to is Robert Morris, just because they are the newest members. But
facility, by the way.
I've heard great things about the facility. I would say the most electric atmospheres that I've experienced in this league have been when the arena is sold out. Just because when I started covering the league for ESPN, as you know, those at that time you had Kay Felder and Max Hooper, and they were like this traveling road show, and every game was filled to the brim and crazy and loud, and the lights and the whole thing. So I would say that atmosphere has been tough to beat. But we've had, you know, great trips to a lot of these venues, and it has been so much fun covering this league over the year. But if there's one that sort of stands out, I mean, I would say it's the arena. That said, like, when Wright State plays NKU, we've been at a few of those where at either venue, because they're so close together, there's just a lot of people there, and it really makes the atmosphere pretty charged up. And I remember years where even though I was staying across the street from the Resch Center, trudging through a foot and a half of snow to try to get into the building. So I mean, we've seen it all. But yeah, I mean, the arena is awesome.
I think the best environment we've done in the last couple of years, and we haven't had a chance to go to the arena in the last couple of years, but when it's full, it's rocking. But Youngstown State, the last couple of years, I know Jared's not there anymore, but they're still having a good year this year. But Jared, what he did there to kind of get that program off the ground and really back to a high standard was remarkable. And that place, when it's full, it's older, probably needs, and I believe they are going to do some work to it.
They did some already.
They did some already. That place is incredible.
Yeah.
It's like
Legally
it's like a glorified high school gym, but the crowd is really into the game. It's a great sports town. That to me was really, really impressive.
Yeah, Coach Faulkner's done a good job continuing on that baton. Let's get, we're a league that creates major experiences. That's our mission, and part of that is the athletes themselves putting on shows. Any individual standouts that you have witnessed so far this season, or maybe in the games that maybe you're previewing over the next month as we head into March in the Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships?
I mean, what stands out to me right now, Wright State and Purdue-Fort Wayne played that wild double overtime game. What was it, last week? That some of the numbers from that game were eye-popping. Jalen Jackson with 38 last time out against IUI. I think he might be emerging as the best player in this league. That may be. We'll see how it continues, but just the numbers that he's been putting up over the last few weeks have been really incredible. But I would even say on a smaller level, I think that when you look at some of the individual kinds of plays that we've seen in the league throughout the season, I mean, Alan McCabe, early in the year when Oakland is playing all these non-conference games in Big Ten arenas and is like throwing down big blocks at Illinois and places like that, you're watching those going, wow, I know the people listening to this know, but there's so much talent in this league, and that's what's exciting for us is that we get to tell these stories of these people, in our role on the linear broadcast. So that's what's fun. But I just think that there's, you could just go through every week in the league and find something that's incredibly impressive. But those are a few that stand out to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of newer faces this year. Obviously, a lot of really, really good players that were in the league last year are gone now, have moved on. But Jalen Jackson, to me, has been, I don't want to say the biggest surprise, but I do agree with Jordan. I think he's starting to separate himself as far as the most, I don't know if the most talented, but probably the most complete, most valuable player in the league. Tevin Smith for Cleveland State, too, is really, he's having a quietly really good year, if that's possible. In Cleveland State's an interesting team because they're 10-1, they've won 12 games in a row, but they do it as a team. They don't really have the Tristan Enaruna from last couple of years where he's the go-to superstar. Tevin Smith is their leading scorer, but they do it as a unit. And to me, I think that just speaks volumes to what Danielle has done and continues to do. And it's been incredible to see where he took the baton from Dennis and has just continued to build that program into a powerhouse.
Let's put a bow on it with this. We'll go prediction time. So good luck with this, based on the gauntlet that you look at our.
Wait till we listen to this in a month.
Yeah, no kidding.
Totally wrong. Yeah.
If you had to pick a top two on the men's side here in the Horizon League, what do you got?
Well, I think right now it's hard to go against Cleveland State. I mean, it just what they've done, and obviously tonight will be the toughest test they've had so far. Not only because Fort Wayne's a very good team, but the style of play. I think Fort Wayne is unique in the sense that the way they play is just not like anything else in the league. They're obviously a much smaller team, but they use that to their advantage. They're quick. All five guys can shoot the ball. Cleveland State just really hasn't seen that yet this year. I think Youngstown is the team that has a chance to be there at the end too. Yep. And call me traditional, but I just don't think in this league you can go against Greg Campy. I know it's been a little bumpy this year at times for him, but come February, late February, beginning of March, you just can never count them out. So I think Cleveland State will definitely be there. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that will be there for that second spot that could finish anywhere from second in the league to 5th. So, but that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree with David. The one other team I would add in there is Milwaukee. I think that Cleveland State, to me, stylistically plays in when you watch the league every year, when you get to the end, it's usually a team that plays like Cleveland State plays. Defensive, physical. We've seen this with Northern Kentucky over the years. Like, those teams find a way to win in the tournament setting. So I feel like Cleveland State formulaically plays a way that could get them to the end. I think Milwaukee has the depth, and I think Bart Lundy is brilliant. I think, and has shown over the last couple of years that they're up for that tournament gauntlet. So I feel like they're a team that could be there at the end. Purdue-Fort Wayne is interesting because David said it. They're small and they play a unique style, but they are doing amazing things the way they're playing and overcoming that ability to kind of deal with the shortcomings that they may have. And then I think Oakland, because of their defensive style, like, their record overall isn't great, but it's because of the gauntlet schedule that they played. I just think if they can get a little more offensively from some of their shooters, like, they are battle tested. I mean, look at that non-conference schedule that they played. So I feel like, if they can score enough, they're going to be a tough team to play when we get to March.
Jordan, David, thanks for joining on the Golden Hour podcast. We wish you the best on the broadcast this evening and throughout the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll see you down the way.
yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Are you hungry? Cluster Truck is Indy's go-to delivery and pickup kitchen. With always free delivery and over 100 menu items, there is something to satisfy everyone's craving. Hand-stretched pizzas, pad thai, tacos, salads, wraps, burritos, and more, delivered directly to your curb. Delivering to Fountain Square, downtown Indy, Carmel, Castleton, Broad Ripple, Fishers, and more. Use code HLRadio at checkout to receive $5 off your next order of $20 or more. Order now at clustertruck.com.